A new city just came out, you've done all the homework on the new area for collections, and you went around and you minted all of the ones that you think are going to be, speculation at least wise, properties in collection areas. And then they finally released the data, and hey, you landed some and you missed others. Overall, hitting any is a success, so great work, right? Pat yourself on the back, be happy. But now what do we do with the properties that aren't in a collection? Hey there, John Henry here, ssftg. Welcome to the video. If this is your first time here, welcome my friend. I hope to earn your like and subscription today. Before we start, I just wanted to say thank you to Brooke Lynn for donating your 0.6 Spark to my Sunset 2.0 project. It's massively appreciated, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Huge shout out. So with the Detroit collection kind of up in the air, it's really up to pure speculation, right? That's exactly what a lot of folks are dealing with any new drop. And once the data drops, what do we do with the properties that didn't land in collections? Now, first off, remember that just because it isn't in a collection, it doesn't mean that it's useless. In fact, situationally, it's arguably more useful than UPIX. Now, how in the world would that ever be the case, right? Well, new city releases like Detroit are laced with FSA properties that myself and many other people with a net worth of over 100,000, we can't buy it. Our net worth is too high, so we have to rely on secondary market sellers. These properties are going to have a much more valuable intrinsic value than just the surface mint price. As soon as you mint them, they kind of go up like 3 to 5 fold, at least in terms of price, because of the scarcity of non-FSA properties. And even if you're in a different area that, may not be in the same FSA boat, so to speak, you still have the ability to use it. One of my favorite ways of using properties that are in what I call the sour spot, which is the opposite of the sweet spot, which is basically a price that's above the floor price enough that it doesn't really get pushed into, but it's also not big enough of a property to be deemed high enough demand, and it's not a cool enough property. It's just in that sour zone. It's one of those properties that's just, it sits there. It's hard to move. That said, just because these properties are hard to move, they're far from useless. These are what I refer to as my Sour Patch Kids. I don't list them for sale in-game, but I use them for barter in trades and offers. And if you offer a fair value, you'll likely get it accepted unless the other player needs the property for something. So the first step is to find out what your mint cost is, and then compare it to the secondary market floor in an otherwise sold out, non-mintable area that you're interested in. It could be a limited collection, it could be some other collection, but our goal is to flip our non-collection properties into collection properties that we can use to either complete our own collections, or we can use them to sell off faster at around the same price that our other properties are anyway, but the demand is higher, so they tend to move easier. So let's look at an example of this in action. A few of the properties that I minted when LA first released were in Mount Washington, and they didn't end up being any collection type properties. And unfortunately for the value of these properties, they land kind of in the sweet spot. This one's $16,500, this one over here is $20,720, and this one over on the corner here is $18,944. And that's that balance between like 17 and 21, that gray zone that's kind of hard to move, and they're not really interesting enough to move for another reason. They don't have any cool street views. There are other unminted properties over here. So it's difficult to move these kind of properties, especially until everything is sold out. So instead of me listing these to sale for UPIX and basically just putting them to list for rotting, let's try to turn these into something a bit more productive. I would love to fill out my collection in Echo Park. It's a collection in Los Angeles that I just never really did, but I also want to save money for Detroit properties. So we need to find a little bit of a medium ground in the middle here. So let's hunt on upixland.me to see what the floor price is in Echo Park first. Okay, so after a quick little search here in Los Angeles for Echo Park, specifically on the sale price, we can see that the floor price is $23,900. And that one's actually 139% markup, there's 109% markup, etc. So the floor is right around $24,000, and my properties are valued at $17 to $21. So it's just about good, but it isn't perfectly fair to the other person, so we need to figure out a way to entice the swap a bit more. I want to ensure that the value of my property that I'm offering them is about 1.5 times their minting price. That way, they're still coming out ahead while getting rid of a collection piece. And although I may be losing out and it seems like a loss, I'm trading my property that wasn't going to sell anyway for a property that has more demand behind it. And the other person is receiving a property with a higher value by 50% or more. So it's kind of a no-lose situation. And that's what gets deals done fairly. Once we know we have a match for our properties, we can hunt the area for owners that may be interested in swapping. Now, I don't target for sale properties because, well, they're for sale for a reason. They want UPIX, they want USD, they want liquidity for some reason or another. They don't want another property. That just gives them the same problem. So instead, we're going to look for people who own properties but aren't necessarily for sale. We're going to search by mint price and then do a search this way. What this is going to give us are properties that are owned by people. They may have minted them, they may have bought them from secondary, however they came to acquire them, but they're not necessarily listed for sale. And the reason that's interesting and why I target owners of properties that are minted rather than ones that are for sale are, again, they're not listed for sale for a reason. People would be more inclined to swap properties that aren't for sale because they're obviously not in any immediate need of UPIX or USD. If they were, they would have listed them for sale, right? So let's find some examples. I know that my property's values are around 17 to 21,000. So what I want to do is I want to search for mint price, and I want to go only in Echo Park based on mint price, and we can see that the mint price is 9,000. That's the lowest mint price, in fact, which is kind of nice because our properties are about twice that. So the 3 properties that we have available to offer are going to be doubling the value of what they have. And even though, based on the floor prices, they're going to be losing a couple thousand UPIX, they're gaining in terms of the overall value. So again, it's a no-lose situation. Okay, so after looking on the list here, I found a couple different properties. This one here, as an example, was minted at 77.01, and the last price was 77.01 by Lord Z. And that means that effectively they minted it, and they haven't done a thing with it since then. Might be in a collection for them, but who knows? Outside of that, that's it. So because of that, let's jump over and find that property, which is right here. And if I want to make an offer on this property, I just have to offer up the ones that I'm willing to put up. Now, again, those are the ones in Mount Washington, but I'll go to offer. I'll select an offer type, and I want to offer a property. And then I'm going to choose my property from the list. I'm looking for 435 or one of the 4 numbers inside of there here. It might take a second. Okay, so here we can see I've got 435 Vista Gloriosa Drive, which was 16,000 UPIX to buy. This person that I'm looking at, the house or the property that I'm looking at, they minted for 7,000. So they would actually be doing more than double if they were to accept this swap. And I'm getting a property that would normally cost me a little bit more for under within a collection. So it's kind of a win-win here, or at least a no-lose. So let's select this property from the list, and then we can make the offer. And that'll go through. Yes, I'm not a robot. And we will hit the check mark. It'll send us our normal code like it always does because, got to check to make sure that we're not robots or anything. And then once that's done, that's it. The other user will receive the offer, and they will either accept it or decline it or whatever it is that they want to do. And then from there, you'll receive a notification on what they chose. Got the next one here, 13,298 Lily. We've got a good offer here. Let's put this one in. They purchased this one for right around the same price, 7,000. So the properties that we've got left are 18 and 20. So they're actually going to be possibly even tripling here if they accept this one. All right, we've got this one. We'll make that offer, pop this one in, see if they want to accept that. And then let's see if we can find one more. All right, and then we got our last one on offer here, so we should be good to go as far as all of those. Now, we have all of our properties on offer, and they're good to go, but until they're accepted, how do we see them? Is there a certain spot that we can see them all clustered together? And there is. If you click the 3 dots down here and go to Properties, on the top right of that, you'll see Sent Offers. And these sent offers are the ones that you've sent out that are still open and pending. You can see that I was sending a couple other offers earlier as well. But these are all of the ones that you have open and active. And if you go into them, if you wanted to cancel them as an example, you can click on them, and then you can retract the offer, and you'll be good to go. After putting a trade offer through, I usually give the other person like 12 to 24 hours to respond, and either they reject it, accept it, or don't do anything with it. If they don't do anything with it within that span of time, then I'll just cancel the offer and move on. I've got more important things to do than sit on dead properties after all. And eventually, you will find someone willing to do a deal, and after a few trade attempts, you'll have swapped your non-moving property to something that's actually useful and has a higher demand. And the other person that you swapped with received a better base property, so they're good too. I always try to keep things fair, and that usually leads to offers getting accepted much more frequently. I hope that helps you understand my strategy in using my Sour Patch Kid properties and turning them into something that's deliciously sweet in terms of collection properties that I can hold or flip much easier. If you aren't in Upland yet, Detroit is right around the corner. With FSA allocations in Detroit at like 70%, new players have a massive edge here, and you do not want to miss out on this. So click the link in the description to get signed up, and you'll receive some starting UPIX to get going. And if you decide to buy some UPIX along the way, you also receive a massive 50% bonus to your first UPIX purchase with a bonus of cap of 50,000 UPIX. To make it even sweeter, my ssftg crew that used the link to purchase with UPIX and you got the bonus along the way, you also have access to our USP list on ssftg, where we sell properties at 20% or more below our purchase price to really make sure that you have the strongest start. That's going to do it though. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, I've got to get off the train here in 20 seconds. We'll see you in the metaverse. Bye.